Chapter 15. They had left Berwick at a gallop, and did not slow their pace until just after dawn when they reached monastic land. The abbot and his monks continued on toward the monastery while Jack, Bella and Lord Redesdale disappeared into the woods. Jack expelled a tense breath. For years the forest had hidden him and his family away, allowing their crimes to go unpunished. The trees had been watchful guardians to which he entrusted those he loved most, and would no doubt give them sanctuary one last time. Patches of mist circled around jutting rocks and wove through the underbrush, painting the earth in white shadow. His appreciative gaze followed the ghostly wisps. He smiled, dropping the reins. While his horse picked its own way toward camp, he wrapped both arms around Bella's waist. She smiled up at him. The morning sun slanted through the leaves, streaking her unbound sable waves with gold. He absently wove his fingers through her hair as he bent his neck back, admiring the tangled green canopy overhead. Having glimpsed the cold interior of a great fortress, the richness of the forest struck Jack as never before. Trees like sentinels creaked in the wind, announcing their return as they rode into camp. The pit fire burned bright, and the log seats were fully occupied by 3 of his brothers, his wee lassies, Rose, and one unexpected visitor. Jack frowned when he met Bishop Lamberton's stern gaze, but an instant later, a chorus of girlish squeals erupted as his lassies raced toward him. He slid from his horse with Bella in his arms, and set her down in time to feel the impact of 5 girls' unabashed delight.
Jack!
They cried.
Let him breathe, lassies,
Rose said. Jack reached over the girls and gave Rose a quick hug, knowing it was Bella who actually held Rose's interest.
My lady, you're back,
Rose said, turning to the woman at his side. Jack smiled down at Bella, who had reached out to embrace his sister.
I never thought I would see you or this place again,
Bella said. Rose's eyes welled with tears.
Are you here to stay?
No, Rose, Jack said. His sister's eyes flashed at him. He threw his hands up in mock surrender. None of us are. Rose arched her brow at him.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'll explain, Jack said, laughing as Florrie shouldered her way past Moira to hug his leg. Welcome back, Ian said, picking his way around the girls. Where's Quinn? Rory stepped forward. Aye, Jack. Where's Quinn? Before Jack could answer, a throat cleared behind him. He turned and looked at Bishop Lamberton. Judging by your present company, the bishop said, looking pointedly at Lord Redesdale, you clearly have much to explain. However, I insist you first remove the robe you wear. Jack nodded, peeling Florrie off his leg. Forgive me, Bishop. I meant no offence. Jack disappeared into his hut, emerging minutes later divested of his monastic robes. As he walked back toward the fire, he smiled when he saw Bella's appreciative gaze travel from his tall black boots, past his black hose, to the black tunic belted at his waist. She smiled her approval. He fought the urge to sweep her up into his arms and retreat back to his hut. With regret, he turned from her and looked at her father. Lord Redesdale, I would like you to meet Bishop Lamberton, my brothers, Ian, Rory and Alec, my sister Rose, and my wee lassies, Moira, Florrie, Anna, Mary, and Maggie. Ian was the first to step forward. He bowed, but Bella's father shook his head. You need not bow, lad. I am lord of nothing now, except my own conscience. I have, or rather I will in due course, be stripped of my titles and wealth. Jack crossed the glade to his horse and pulled the satchel of coin out of his saddlebags, giving it to Lord Redesdale. Your claim of poverty is not entirely true. How has this come to be? Bishop Lamberton said, his eyes darting between Lord Redesdale and Jack. Jack cleared his throat. In short, Lord Redesdale... Please, Jack, Lord Redesdale interrupted. Call me David. Jack smiled and nodded. David has denounced King Edward, and is now guilty of treason. The bishop's eyes widened with surprise. Then your lives are in danger. That is the truth of the matter, David said. Jack nodded. We must leave. All of us, he said, raising his voice for his family to hear. Wait. Ian grabbed Jack's arm. What of Quinn? Is he hurt? Jack shook his head. Quinn has journeyed to Ravensworth Castle to retrieve Isabella's sister. Now that Caterina is no longer a lady, Bella and David fear her husband will not honour their marriage.
Or worse,
Bella chimed in. Brows drawn, Rory asked, What are the rest of us to do? We must flee, Jack said. Doubtless Edward has men already searching for our trail. Something pulled at Jack's tunic. He looked down at Florrie's smiling face.
Is it time to play yet?
She said. He squatted down and motioned for all of his lassies to come to him. Nay, lassies, we cannot play, for we are going on an adventure, and I need all my girls to help Rose with preparations.
Where will we go?
Rose asked. To the Isle of Colonsay, he said. Then he turned to Bella and David. Our father's people come from there. I am confident we will be welcomed. But what of the other children, Jack? Ian said. Jack pressed his eyes closed to think. He had not considered the dozens of other children still reliant on his support. We've stolen coin hidden away in the hole, Alex said, his voice flat and his eyes downcast. That should keep them fed for a while. Isabella whirled around to face Alec. He must have sensed her gaze because he looked up. She had never seen his face up close. His long black hair fell across eyes as black as Jack's.
Show me the hole,
she said. She followed him down the path that led to the stream where she, Rose and the lassies had enjoyed their picnic. Before too long, he stepped off the path toward a patch of dense thicket. "'Tis there," he said. She stared him hard in the eye. He remained aloof, his face like finely carved wood. Beautiful, but unchanging. She circled around him and parted the brush and saw the black hole, though she dared not look down. Bella arched her brow at him.
This is where you wanted to stick me?
Alex shrugged. It seemed a good idea at the time. She stalked up to him and brushed a lock of black hair from his eyes. Despite his shield of impassivity, she could feel his power as one feels the strength of a caged animal. Then she remembered Rose confessing that he had the sight.
You feel nothing to keep from feeling everything,
she blurted. His expression never altered. Let's go, he said. Then, without another word, he turned around and headed back toward camp. She followed after and remembered Rose telling her that she had a special place for Alec in her heart. Now Bella understood why. He was so cold and distant, it would have been hard to love him otherwise. Back at camp, a bustle of activity was underway. She crossed to where her father stood.
Are you well, Papa? You seem confused.
He smiled. I am not confused, perhaps a trifle overwhelmed. As far as I can tell, Rose and Jack's lassies are coming with us, but Jack and Bishop Lamberton appear to disagree on whether or not his brothers should come. Jack raked his fingers through his hair as he looked hard at the bishop. I cannot divide my family. Do you think they will be safer with you? The bishop replied. You are on the run, Jack. There will be a price on your head, but your brothers are still unknown, traceless. The bishop paused, drawing a deep breath. Damn it, Jack. Scotland still needs saints. Jack pressed his lips together while he thought. Then they will have to decide for themselves. Rory, who had been standing by, chimed in straight away. I'm sorry, Jack, but the cause is in my blood. I want to stay and be useful to the bishop. I want to fight for Scotland. Jack closed his eyes against the tightening in his chest. Instinct bade he fight to keep his family together. Still, at 22, Rory was a man. He met Rory's pale blue gaze. A tiny isle is no place for you. At least not now. But mind you're careful. Stay out of trouble and stick to the code. Then Jack crossed the glade to where Alec stood alone. He waited for Alec to look at him or speak his choice, but his younger brother remained silent, his eyes fixed on the ground. After several long moments passed, Jack had his answer. He pulled Alec into a fierce hug. Make your way to Colonsay one day, he said. Then he stepped back and looked to his youngest brother. Ian was sitting on the ground, letting Moira braid his long, tangled red hair. "What say ye?" Jack said, then held his breath. Ian looked up at Jack. "Bishop Lamberton is right. You're an outlaw now, and so are Bella and David. You cannot run with 5 wee ones. I will take Rose and the lassies to Colonsay myself. We will strike out on our own." Jack expelled the breath he'd been holding. He placed his hand on his youngest brother's wide shoulder. "Thank you, Ian." Bishop Lamberton stepped forward then. "I will ensure the other children are taken care of, which settles matters. Now, you must put some distance between you and Edward's soldiers." Jack clasped his offered hand. "Thank you for everything." The bishop smiled. "You have given more than your share to the cause, Jack. Now is your chance for that peaceful life I know you dream about, when you think no one is looking." Jack winked and wrapped his arm around Bella's waist. "I am already there." Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to enjoy more videos like this one, click the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. See you next time out in the Highlands.